My dentist husband died in a car crash 5 years ago. Last week, I got a Facebook friend request from him. With a new wife. Before I tell you what I did when I showed up at his door unannounced, if you're listening now, help me prove something wrong. My ex-girlfriend said I would not reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these stories matter. Hit that subscribe button. Because what happened next is something everyone needs to hear. My name is Rebecca Morrison. I'm 42 years old. I live in Columbus, Ohio, in a small house on the east side of town. For the past 5 years, I've been a widow. Or at least, I thought I was. My husband's name was Dr. Matthew Morrison. Matt. Everyone called him Matt. He was a dentist, owned his own practice in downtown Columbus. Morrison Family Dentistry. He'd built it from nothing, starting with a small office above a dry cleaner, eventually moving into a proper building with 4 treatment rooms, a waiting area with leather chairs, and a reception desk made of reclaimed wood that he'd spent weeks refinishing himself. We met in college. Ohio State University. I was studying elementary education. He was pre-dental. We were both 20, both broke, both eating ramen 3 meals a day and pretending it was a choice. He had this smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. I fell in love with that smile before I fell in love with him. We got married when I was 24, right after he finished dental school. Small wedding, just family and close friends, in my parents' backyard in Dayton. We honeymooned in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, because that's what we could afford. We stayed in a cabin with a hot tub on the deck and spent 3 days hiking and eating barbecue and planning our future. The plan was simple. He'd work as an associate dentist for a few years, save money, then open his own practice. I'd teach elementary school until we were financially stable, then maybe cut back when we had kids. We wanted 3. 2 boys and a girl, or 2 girls and a boy, we didn't care, as long as they were healthy. We had 1. Sophia. Our daughter. She's 13 now. She was 8 when her father died. Or when I thought he died. 5 years ago, on March 15, 2020, I got a phone call that changed my life. It was 11:47 p.m. I remember the exact time because I was watching the late news, waiting for Matt to come home from the office. He'd been working late a lot that month, catching up on billing, he said. Organizing files. Things that couldn't be done during the day. The phone rang. Columbus Police Department. Officer's name was Jenkins. He asked if I was Rebecca Morrison, wife of Dr. Matthew Morrison. I said yes. He asked me to sit down. My legs went weak before he even said the words. There'd been an accident. Matt's car, a silver Audi A4, had been hit by a semi-truck on I-70 West, just past the 270 interchange. The truck driver had fallen asleep at the wheel, crossed the median, hit Matt head-on. Speed estimated at 65 miles per hour. Matt's car had been crushed. The impact killed him instantly, they said. No suffering. Just gone. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there on my couch, phone pressed to my ear, listening to Officer Jenkins tell me details that didn't feel real. Where to go? Who to call? What to do next? His voice was kind but professional. He'd done this before. Too many times. I called my sister Lisa. She lived 20 minutes away. She came over, took Sophia to her house so I could go to the hospital. I drove in a fog, not really seeing the road, just moving forward because that's what you do when your world ends. You keep moving. At the hospital, they took me to a private room. That's how I knew for certain. Private rooms are for bad news. They don't waste them on people getting good news. A doctor came in. Dr. Patterson. She was young, maybe 30, with tired eyes and hands that moved constantly, fidgeting with her stethoscope. She told me Matt had been pronounced dead at the scene. She told me the injuries were severe. She asked if I wanted to see him. I said yes. They took me to a room in the basement. The morgue. It was cold and smelled like disinfectant and something else I couldn't identify. They pulled back a sheet. It was Matt. His face was wrong. Damaged. Swollen and bruised. But it was him. I touched his hand. It was cold. So cold. I stood there for I don't know how long, just holding his cold hand, trying to understand that he would never hold mine again. The funeral was 4 days later. March 19th. We buried him at Green Lawn Cemetery on the south side of Columbus. His parents came from Florida. My parents drove in from Dayton. His sister flew in from California. About 200 people attended. Patients, dental colleagues, friends from college, neighbors. Everyone said the same things. He was so young. Such a tragedy. If there's anything we can do. He's in a better place now. I didn't believe in a better place. I believed in the cold, hard ground where we'd just buried my husband at 37 years old. Sophia cried so hard at the funeral she threw up. She was 8. Too young to understand death. Too young to lose her father. I held her while she sobbed and wished I could cry too, but my tears felt frozen somewhere inside me where I couldn't reach them. The life insurance paid out 6 weeks later. $500,000. Matt had been careful about things like that. Always responsible. Always planning ahead. The money felt like blood money. I didn't want it. But I needed it. The dental practice had debt. The house had a mortgage. Sophia needed to eat, go to school, have a life. I paid off the house first. Then the practice debt. Then I put the rest in a college fund for Sophia and a savings account for emergencies. I went back to teaching. 3rd grade at Barrack Elementary. I needed structure. I needed routine. I needed to not think about the empty bed I slept in every night. The first year was the hardest. People say it gets easier. It doesn't. You just get used to the weight. You learn to carry it. You learn to smile when people ask how you're doing. You learn to lie and say fine when you're not fine, when you'll never be fine again. Sophia struggled. Nightmares. Panic attacks. Refusing to sleep alone. I took her to a therapist. Dr. Greenfield. Twice a week for 2 years. Eventually, the nightmares stopped. She started sleeping through the night. She learned to talk about her dad without crying. We learned to live without him. It was a life I never wanted, but it was the only life we had. Year 2. Year 3. Year 4. Year 5. 5 years of widow status. 5 years of sleeping alone. 5 years of being both mom and dad to a daughter who missed her father every single day. 5 years of visiting his grave every Sunday after church, bringing fresh flowers, sitting on the grass and talking to a headstone like he could hear me. 5 years of believing he was dead. Until last week. Last Tuesday. April 8, 2025. I was at home, grading papers at the kitchen table. Sophia was upstairs doing homework. My phone was next to me, charging. I heard the notification sound. Facebook Messenger. I ignored it. I wasn't big on social media. I had an account mainly to keep up with family and see photos from friends, but I rarely posted and even more rarely checked messages. But something made me look. The message was from someone named Matt Morrison. My heart stopped. Just stopped. For a second, I couldn't breathe. I thought it was spam. Some bot. Some cruel algorithm that had pulled my dead husband's name from somewhere and was using it to trick me. It happens. Scammers scrape obituaries, use dead people's names to manipulate grieving families. But then I clicked on the profile. The profile picture was a man standing on a beach. Blue water behind him. Bright sunshine. Wearing a white t-shirt and khaki shorts. Sunglasses. Smiling. It was Matt. Not someone who looked like Matt. Not a cousin or a brother or a doppelganger. Matt. My husband. My dead husband. The man I'd buried 5 years ago. I stared at the photo for a full minute, trying to make sense of it. Trying to find some explanation that wasn't insane. Maybe it was an old photo someone had found and uploaded to a memorial account. Maybe a family member had created a page in his memory. But the page wasn't a memorial. It was an active profile. Recent posts. Photos from the past few months. Check-ins at restaurants in Austin, Texas. Tagged photos with other people. Comments. Likes. A whole digital life. I scrolled through the photos with shaking hands. Matt at a barbecue, beer in hand, laughing with people I didn't recognize. Matt at a dental conference in Dallas, name tag visible, Dr. Matthew Morrison, DDS, Austin Bright Smiles Dentistry. Matt at what looked like a child's birthday party, helping a little boy blow out candles on a cake shaped like a dinosaur. Matt with his arm around a woman. Blonde. Pretty. Smiling. Wearing a wedding ring. The caption on that photo, 5 years with my beautiful wife Claire. Best decision I ever made. Red heart. 5 years. 5 years ago, I'd buried my husband. 5 years ago, he'd apparently married someone named Claire. I couldn't move. Couldn't think. Couldn't process what I was seeing. It wasn't possible. None of it was possible. Matt was dead. I'd seen his body. I'd watched them lower his casket into the ground. I'd mourned him for 5 years. But here he was. On Facebook. Alive. Married to someone else. Living in Austin, Texas. Running a dental practice. My phone slipped from my hand and clattered onto the table. Sophia called down from upstairs. Mom? You okay? Fine, I called back. My voice sounded strange. High and tight. Everything's fine. I picked up my phone and looked at the screen again. The profile was still there. Matt was still there. Alive. I clicked on the message he'd sent. A friend request. That's all. No message. No explanation. Just a request to connect. My finger hovered over the accept button. Then I did something else. I took screenshots. Every photo. Every post. Every detail. I saved them all to my phone, then backed them up to my computer. Then I backed them up again to a flash drive. I wasn't taking any chances. If this disappeared, if this was some glitch in the matrix, I needed proof. After I'd saved everything, I sat back in my chair and tried to breathe. My husband was alive. My dead husband. The man whose funeral I'd planned. Whose eulogy I'd written. Whose gravestone I'd chosen. He was alive. And he'd sent me a friend request. Please subscribe and let's keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay silent. For 2 hours, I sat at that kitchen table, staring at my phone, trying to understand. Trying to make sense of the impossible. My mind kept circling back to the same questions. How? Why? When? The body. I'd seen the body. I'd touched his cold hand in that morgue. Unless it wasn't him. Unless the body in that morgue, the body we'd buried, belonged to someone else. But how? How does that happen? How does a hospital, the police, everyone involved, misidentify a body? How does a man fake his own death? Insurance fraud. The thought hit me like a punch to the stomach. The $500,000 life insurance payout. Matt had been so careful about making sure we were covered. Multiple policies, actually. Work policy, private policy. He'd updated them 6 months before the accident. Increased the coverage, said it was responsible, said we needed to be prepared. He'd been planning this. 4 months, maybe longer. He'd set everything up, arranged his own death, let me bury a stranger, took the insurance money. No, wait. The insurance money came to me. Unless. I pulled up our bank records on my laptop. Went back 5 years. Found the insurance deposits. Both policies had paid out. $500,000 total. All of it had gone into our joint account. Then I'd transferred it, paid off debts, set up accounts for Sophia. But what if he'd had other policies? Ones I didn't know about? What if he'd collected his own death benefits somehow? My head was spinning. I needed help. I needed someone who could think clearly because I sure as hell couldn't. I called my sister Lisa. It was almost 10 p.m., but she answered on the second ring. Becca? What's wrong? Lisa, I need you to come over. Now. Please. Is Sophia okay? Sophia's fine. I'm fine. I need you to see something. I'm on my way. She lived 15 minutes away but made it in 10. I heard her car in the driveway, met her at the door before she could knock. What happened? She asked, seeing my face. You look like you've seen a ghost. I have, I said. I've seen Matt. Her face went pale. What do you mean you've seen Matt? Becca, honey, Matt's been dead for 5 years. Look at this. I pulled up the Facebook profile on my phone and handed it to her. She stared at the screen. Scrolled through the photos. Her hand started shaking. This can't be real. That's what I thought. But it is. That's him, Lisa. That's Matt. But we buried him. We were at his funeral. We buried someone. But I don't think it was Matt. She sat down heavily on my couch. Oh my God. Oh my God, Becca. What are you going to do? I don't know. I don't know. I needed someone else to see this. To tell me I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. She kept scrolling through the photos, her face getting paler with each swipe. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. We need to call the police. And tell them what? My dead husband is alive on Facebook? They'll think I've lost my mind. You have proof. These photos, this profile, it's all proof. Proof of what? That someone who looks like Matt has a Facebook account? They'll say it's a coincidence. They'll say grief makes people see things that aren't there. Lisa looked at me. You don't think this is a coincidence? No. I don't. That's him. I know it's him. And he knows I know, because he sent me a friend request. Why would he do that? I have no idea. Maybe he wants me to know. Maybe it's some sick game. Maybe he feels guilty. I don't know and I don't care. I need to find out what happened. I need to know why. You need to be careful, Becca. If Matt faked his death, if he committed insurance fraud, if he let you believe he was dead for 5 years, this man is not who you thought he was. He's dangerous. I know. But I didn't care. All I could think about was confronting him. Seeing his face when I showed up at his door. Making him explain. Making him answer for what he'd done. Lisa stayed until midnight. We sat on my couch, going through every photo, every post, every detail on his Facebook profile. We found the dental practice website. Austin Bright Smiles Dentistry. Dr. Matthew Morrison, DDS. University of Texas Dental School. That was a lie. Matt went to Ohio State. But everything else on the site looked professional. Real. He had patient reviews. Before and after photos. A staff page with photos of hygienists and office managers. And photos of him. Smiling. Wearing scrubs. Holding up a trophy for Best Dentist in Austin 2023. He'd built a whole new life. A successful life. while I'd been struggling to pay bills and raise our daughter alone. The rage hit me then. Pure, clean, burning rage. He'd done this on purpose. He'd chosen this. He'd walked away from me, from Sophia, from everything, and built something new. Something better. With someone else. And he'd let us think he was dead. I made a decision that night. I was going to Austin. I was going to find Matt. And I was going to make him face what he'd done. Lisa tried to talk me out of it. Said I should go to the police first, let them handle it. But I didn't want the police. Not yet. First, I wanted answers. I wanted to look Matt in the eyes and ask him why. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Called Sophia's school and told them she'd be staying with my sister for a few days. Sophia asked questions, why so sudden, where was I going, but I couldn't tell her the truth. Not yet. Not until I knew for sure. I bought a plane ticket to Austin. One way. Departing Thursday morning. It was Wednesday night now. I had 12 hours. I spent those hours planning. I looked up his dental practice address. 4567 South Lamar Boulevard, Austin, Texas. I found his home address too, took some digging, but property records are public. He owned a house in a neighborhood called Travis Heights. Nice area. Expensive. He'd done well for himself. I packed a small bag. Close for a few days. My laptop. The flash drive with all the screenshots. Printed copies of everything, just in case. I wasn't taking chances. Thursday morning, I drove to the airport. Parked in long-term parking. Checked in. Went through security. Sat at the gate and stared at the departure board. Flight 2247 to Austin. Boarding in 30 minutes. My phone buzzed. A text from Lisa. It's not too late to change your mind. You don't have to do this. I texted back. Yes, I do. The flight was 2.5 hours. I didn't sleep. Didn't eat. Just sat in seat 17A, staring out the window at the clouds, running through everything I wanted to say to Matt when I saw him. How could you? Why did you do this? How could you let Sophia think you were dead? How could you let me mourn you? Do you have any idea what you've done? But under all those questions was something else. Something I didn't want to admit. Part of me was excited. Part of me wanted to see him alive. Because even though he'd betrayed me in the worst possible way, even though he'd destroyed our lives, he was still Matt. Still the man I'd loved. Still the father of my child. And he wasn't dead. That thought kept circling back. He wasn't dead. Whatever else was true, that was true. Matt was alive. We landed in Austin at 2:37 p.m. local time. I rented a car. A basic sedan. Nothing flashy. I didn't want to draw attention. I drove to his dental office first. I wasn't ready to confront him yet. I needed to see him. Make sure this was real. Make sure I wasn't having some kind of grief-induced hallucination. The office was in a modern building, all glass and steel. Austin Bright Smiles Dentistry, the sign said. I parked across the street where I could see the entrance. At 3:15, the door opened. A woman came out. Blonde. Pretty. The woman from the Facebook photos. Claire. Matt's wife. She got into a white Range Rover and drove away. I sat there for 2 more hours. Watched people come and go. Patients, staff members. Then, at 5:30, he came out. Matt. My breath caught in my throat. He was wearing scrubs and a white coat. His hair was a little longer than he used to wear it. He had a beard now, neatly trimmed. But it was him. Absolutely, undeniably him. He walked to a black Mercedes in the parking lot. Got in. Drove away. I followed him. He drove to a nice neighborhood south of downtown. Tree-lined streets. Big houses with manicured lawns. He pulled into the driveway of a 2-story brick house with a wraparound porch and a swing set in the backyard. I parked down the street and watched. Watched him get out of his car. Watched him walk up to the front door. Watched the door open before he reached it. 2 kids ran out. A boy, maybe 7. A girl, maybe 4. They threw themselves at him. He scooped them both up, one in each arm, laughing. Then Claire appeared in the doorway. She kissed him. He kissed her back. They stood there on the porch, the perfect family, while I sat in my rental car 100 feet away, watching the man I'd mourned for 5 years live a life he'd stolen. I didn't confront him that night. I went to a hotel. Budget place near the airport. I lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling and tried to process what I'd seen. Matt had a new family. New wife. New kids. New life. He'd replaced us. Replaced me. Replaced Sophia. And he'd done it all while we believed he was dead. The rage from the night before came back, but colder this time. Calculating. I wasn't going to just confront Matt. That wasn't enough. He deserved more than a confrontation. He deserved consequences. I spent Friday planning. I made a list of everyone who needed to know. The Columbus Police Department. The insurance companies. The Ohio State Dental Board. The FBI, because faking your death and crossing state lines had to be some kind of federal crime, right? But before I contacted any of them, I needed more proof. I needed documentation. I needed evidence that would hold up in court. I hired a private investigator. Found one online who specialized in insurance fraud. His name was Derek Chin. I met him at a coffee shop Friday afternoon. I showed him everything. The Facebook profile. The dental practice website. The address. The photos. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he said, "I need 48 hours. Don't do anything until I call you." What are you going to do? Confirm everything. Get documentation. Make sure this is ironclad. If your husband faked his death and you've been collecting insurance money, they're going to come after you too. We need to make sure you're protected. I hadn't thought of that. That they might think I was involved. That I might be charged with fraud. I didn't know, I said. I had no idea he was alive. I believe you. But you're going to need to prove it. That's what I'm going to help you do. I spent the weekend in that hotel room, barely sleeping, waiting for Derek to call. Saturday morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. Hadn't really slept. Just laid there staring at the ceiling, running through scenarios in my head. What would I say when I saw Matt? How would he react? Would he deny it? Would he run? I ordered room service. Coffee and toast. Couldn't eat the toast. Just drank the coffee and paced the room. I'd brought the flash drive with all the screenshots. Kept pulling it out of my bag, checking it was still there. Like it might disappear. Like this whole thing might turn out to be some elaborate hallucination. Around noon, my phone rang. "Lisa. How are you holding up?" she asked. "I don't know. I'm in a hotel room in Austin, waiting to confront my dead husband who's apparently alive. How should I be holding up?" "Fair point. Have you eaten?" "Not really. Becca, you need to take care of yourself. This is traumatic. You're allowed to fall apart." "I can't fall apart. Not yet. Not until this is done. Promise me you'll eat something. Promise me you'll sleep." "I'll try. And promise me you'll call me if you need anything. Day or night." "I'm here." "I know. Thank you." After we hung up, I tried to eat. Went to a drive-thru, got a burger, forced down half of it. It tasted like cardboard, but I made myself eat. Lisa was right. I needed to stay strong. Saturday afternoon, I drove past Matt's house again. The Mercedes was in the driveway. The Range Rover was gone. Through the front window, I could see movement. Someone walking past. Matt, probably. Living his life. His fake life. I wanted to march up to that door right then. Pound on it until he answered. Scream at him in front of his new family. Let them all know what kind of man he really was. But I didn't. Because I needed the evidence first. I needed Derek's investigation. I needed everything to be perfect before I confronted Matt, because I was only going to get one chance at this. Saturday night was the longest night of my life. Longer than the night I found out he died. Longer than the nights after the funeral when I'd wake up reaching for him and find an empty bed. Because this night, I knew he was alive. Just a few miles away. And I couldn't do anything about it. Sunday morning, I went to a church. Don't know why. I'm not particularly religious. Haven't been to church regularly since I was a kid. But I needed something. Needed to feel grounded. Needed to feel like there was still some order to the universe even though my entire life had been revealed as a lie. I sat in the back pew and listened to the sermon. The pastor talked about forgiveness. About letting go of anger. About trusting in divine justice. I didn't want divine justice. I wanted real justice. The kind that comes with handcuffs and prison sentences. On Sunday afternoon, my phone rang. Derek. I've got everything, he said. Can you meet me? We met at the same coffee shop. He handed me a thick folder. Matthew Richard Morrison, he said. Born March 3, 1983, in Columbus, Ohio. Ohio State Dental School, graduated 2008. Married Rebecca and Morrison, née Parker, in 2009. One child, Sophia, born 2012. Declared dead March 15, 2020, after a car accident on I-70. He flipped through pages. Except he's not dead. He's living in Austin, Texas, under his real name. Real social security number. Real dental license. He applied for a Texas license in 2021, using his Ohio credentials. He didn't even change his identity. He just moved and started over. How is that possible? How did no one catch this? Different state systems don't always communicate. Texas didn't know Ohio had declared him dead. And honestly, who checks? If someone shows up with valid credentials and applies for a license, you process it. You don't run a death certificate check. What about the body? The body we buried? Derek's face darkened. That's where it gets complicated. I pulled the accident report. The body was identified through personal effects at the scene. Wallet with Matt's ID. His car. His insurance card. But there was no dental record comparison. No DNA test. The coroner's office did a visual identification, which you confirmed at the morgue. Are you saying I misidentified my own husband? I'm saying the body was severely damaged in the crash. Facial trauma. Burns from the fire. You identified what you were told to identify. But I don't think it was Matt. Then who was it? I don't know. But I'm going to find out. Derek left to keep investigating. I stayed in Austin. On Monday morning, I went back to Matt's dental office. This time, I didn't just watch. I walked inside. The waiting room was nice. Modern. Comfortable chairs. Magazines. A receptionist at the front desk, young woman with a bright smile. Hi. Do you have an appointment? No, I said. I'd like to make one. With Dr. Morrison, if possible. Sure. He has an opening next Thursday at 2 p.m. Nothing sooner? She checked her computer. Actually, we just had a cancellation tomorrow at 10 a.m. Would that work? Perfect. She took my information. I used a fake name. Sarah Miller. Paid in cash for the appointment fee. As I was leaving, I saw him. Through a window in the back, I could see into one of the treatment rooms. Matt was working on a patient, bent over, focused. He was wearing loupes, those magnifying glasses dentists use. He looked competent. Professional. Like he'd been doing this his whole life. Because he had. He'd just taken a 5-year break to fake his death and abandon his family. Tuesday morning, I went to my appointment. The hygienist took me back, did x-rays, cleaned my teeth. Then she said, "Dr. Morrison will be in shortly to do your exam." My heart was pounding so hard I thought she could hear it. The door opened. Matt walked in. He looked at the chart, not at me. "Good morning, Ms. Miller. I'm Dr. Morrison. Let's take a look at." He glanced up. Our eyes met. The color drained from his face. Completely. He went white as paper. "Rebecca," he whispered. "Hello, Matt." For 5 seconds, neither of us moved. The hygienist looked confused, glancing between us. "Is everything okay, Dr. Morrison?" Matt recovered fast. Too fast. "Yes. Fine. Could you give us a moment, please?" She left, looking uncertain. The door closed. We were alone. "What are you doing here?" His voice was low. "Careful. I should ask you the same thing. Since you're supposed to be dead." "Rebecca, I can explain." "Can you? Can you explain how you faked your death? How you let me bury a stranger? How you let your daughter think her father was dead for 5 years? Keep your voice down. Or what? You'll have security throw me out? You'll call the police? Please do. I'd love to explain to them how my dead husband is alive and practicing dentistry in Texas." He moved to the door, locked it. Turned back to me. "You don't understand. Then make me understand." He ran his hand through his hair. That gesture. The same one he'd done 1,000 times when he was stressed. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. I was in trouble. Serious trouble. I owed money to the wrong people. Gambling debts. If I didn't pay, they were going to kill me. Kill you. Kill Sophia. Gambling debts. I had a problem. An addiction. It got out of control. I tried to stop, I couldn't, and then I was in too deep. The only way out was to disappear. So you faked your death. It wasn't supposed to go this way. I was going to contact you after things settled down. Tell you I survived, that there'd been a mistake. But then time passed, and it got harder, and then you'd moved on, and I thought maybe it was better this way. Better? Better for who? For you? For all of us. You got the insurance money. You paid off the house. Sophia had a future. You were taken care of. I was a widow. Sophia lost her father. I mourned you. I'm sorry. You're sorry. I laughed. It sounded a little hysterical even to my own ears. You're sorry. That's what you have to say after 5 years? What do you want me to say? I want you to tell me who's in that grave in Columbus. Who did we bury? His face went even paler, if that was possible. I don't know his name. You don't know his name. He was homeless. A drifter. He came to me looking for dental work. Said he'd pay cash. I was already planning my exit by then. I saw an opportunity. My stomach turned. You killed him. No. No, it wasn't like that. He overdosed. In my office. Heroin, probably, or fentanyl. I found him in the bathroom, already dead. I panicked. I knew I needed a body for the accident to work, and there he was. So you took his body and put it in your car and crashed your car and made it look like you died. Yes. And you let us bury him. I'm sorry, Rebecca. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what else to do. I stood up. Grabbed my purse. You had 1,000 other choices. You could have told me about the gambling. We could have gotten you help. We could have figured it out together. But you chose to fake your death and abandon your family instead. Where are you going? To the police. To the FBI. To anyone who will listen. You're going to pay for what you did, Matt. I'm going to make sure of it. He moved to block the door. You can't do that. Watch me. If you turn me in, you'll go down too. You benefited from the insurance fraud. They'll say you were complicit. I wasn't. And I can prove it. Can you? Are you sure? Because the moment you start talking to police, they're going to look at everything. Every dollar you spent. Every decision you made. They're going to wonder why you never questioned the identification. Why you didn't demand a DNA test. Because I trusted the police. I trusted the coroner. I trusted you. No one is going to believe that. I shoved past him and unlocked the door. We'll see. He didn't try to stop me. Just stood there as I walked out of the treatment room, through the hallway, past the confused receptionist, out into the bright Austin sunshine. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely unlock my rental car. But I managed. I got in, started the engine, and drove straight to the Austin Police Department. I walked in and told them I needed to report a crime. Insurance fraud. Faked death. They took me to a detective's office. Detective Maria Gonzalez, mid-40s, sharp eyes, no-nonsense attitude. I told her everything. Showed her everything. The Facebook profile. The dental practice. The house. The photos. The death certificate from Ohio. Derek Chen's investigation report. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "This is going to be a complicated case. But you believe me? I believe your husband faked his death. Whether you were involved or not, that's something we'll need to determine. I wasn't involved. I swear. We'll see. Don't leave Austin. We'll need to interview you again." Over the next 2 weeks, everything exploded. The Austin police contacted Columbus police. Columbus police exhumed the body from Matt's grave. DNA testing confirmed it wasn't Matt. It was a John Doe, never identified, no dental records in the system, exactly like Matt had said. Which meant Matt had been telling the truth about finding him dead. Which also meant Matt had committed fraud but not murder. That distinction mattered, legally. The FBI got involved because of the interstate fraud. The insurance companies launched their own investigations. The Ohio State Dental Board suspended Matt's license. The Texas board revoked his new one. Matt was arrested on a Tuesday morning at his dental office. Grand jury indicted him on 17 counts, including insurance fraud, identity fraud, and falsifying death records. Claire, his wife, found out the truth along with everyone else. She'd had no idea. He'd told her he was a widower, that his first wife had died of cancer, that he'd moved to Austin for a fresh start. She filed for divorce within a week. The media picked it up. Ohio dentist faked death, lived double life in Texas. It was everywhere. Local news, national news, true crime podcasts. Everyone wanted the story. I gave one interview. To a reporter from the Columbus Dispatch. I told my side. Told Sophia's side. Told the story of a man who chose convenience over his family. Matt tried to contact me from jail. I didn't take his calls. His lawyer reached out, wanted to negotiate, wanted me to make a statement on his behalf. I refused. The trial was set for 6 months later. Matt pleaded guilty to avoid a longer sentence. He got 12 years in federal prison. He'll serve at least 10 before he's eligible for parole. The insurance company sued to recover their money. I had to pay back the $500,000, plus interest. It wiped out Sophia's college fund. Took the equity in the house. Left us with debt. But I didn't care. Because now everyone knew the truth. Matt wasn't dead. He was a fraud. A liar. A man who'd abandoned his daughter and let her cry herself to sleep for years thinking her father was gone. And now he was in prison, where he belonged. Sophia took it hard. Finding out her father was alive but had chosen to leave was somehow worse than thinking he'd died. We went back to Dr. Greenfield. Started therapy again. It's been a year now. She's doing better. Some days. Me? I'm still processing. Still angry. Still hurt. But also relieved. Because I'm not a widow anymore. I'm just a woman whose ex-husband is a criminal. And somehow, that's easier to live with. Last week, I got a letter from Matt. From prison. He wrote to say he was sorry. To say he'd made terrible choices. To say he wished he could take it all back. I read it once. Then I threw it away. Some apologies come too late. Some betrayals are too big to forgive. Matt made his choices. He faked his death. He abandoned his family. He built a new life while we grieved the old one. Now he gets to live with the consequences. In a 6x8 cell. For the next 10 years. And me? I get to move on. Finally. Really move on. I sold the house in Columbus. Too many memories, too much debt. Sophia and I moved to Cincinnati, closer to my parents. I got a job at a new school. We started fresh. Sometimes Sophia asks if she can visit her father in prison. I tell her that's her choice when she's older. For now, I think she needs distance. Needs time to heal. As for me, I'm learning to be okay. Learning to rebuild. Learning that sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who hurt you the deepest. But I survived. We survived. And we're going to be okay. Because I didn't just get revenge on Matt. I got justice. I got truth. I got my life back. And that's worth more than anything he could ever give me. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely, if you've ever had to rebuild your life from nothing, if you've ever wondered how you'd survive something impossible, I hope this story shows you, you can. You will. You're stronger than you know. And sometimes, justice isn't just about punishment. It's about truth. It's about making sure the world knows what happened. It's about refusing to be silent. Please subscribe and let's keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay silent. Share your story in the comments. Tell me if you've ever had to confront an impossible truth. Tell me how you survived. Because your story matters too. And someone out there needs to hear it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And remember, the truth always comes out. Eventually. Even if it takes 5 years. Even if it's buried in a grave that holds the wrong person. The truth finds a way. And so do you.